So that title is very true. Let me explain. But first, I'm gonna need some coffee. All right. That's better. All right, so this video is going to go a little bit differently since it's going to be less scripted. I mainly have my bullet points that I want to get through, and I just want to maybe just tell you what's going to be happening soon, because that title is in fact correct. The LowFigh channel will not exist in that form for much longer, but I'm not quitting. I am simply renaming myself. How this is going to go, I have my notes right here next to me that I'm going to be going through, trying to hit all the points that I want to talk about. It's not going to be that glamorous in terms of video, since I'm just going to be sitting here in front of a black background and just explaining what is happening. So no B-roll except that coffee thing. Okay? So let's talk about it a bit. So first of all, I want to explain, most of you probably don't know this, some of you might, but I started out as a streamer back in 2017. And back then, I really went through a whole process of trying to figure out a name, what to use as my streaming persona, if you will. And mostly because that's just the norm, pretty much, in the streaming space. So the biggest streamers out there, there's Ludwig, there's PewDiePie, there's Dr. Lupo, there's Tim the Tatman. Pretty much everyone has some sort of a name. It might be contrived from their own name, but it is not their real name. So I tried to come up with a name for myself, and if you've been with me since the start, you'll actually know that LowFigh was not the original name either. It was Shadow CC. Yeah, I even had one of those, for a very brief moment in time, I had one of those esports logos made. It was an interesting time. But so I did streaming for a while, then I stopped. Then there's a whole process and a whole story between that. But I started back with content creation in 2019. No, 2021. Yeah, I started back in 2021, and I needed a new name because I did not want to use Shadow CC. Now, I really love lo-fi music. I tried to incorporate that into my name in any way that I could, and in the end, LowFigh, LowFigh. So that's how I came up with that name. I kind of wanted to go with my own name, but I also thought about thinking of a completely, like a alias, like a completely different name, because I knew that I was going to be doing this in English, and when you do it in English, a lot of your viewer base tends to be Americans or from the UK, from Canada. So that's why, since I am Finnish myself, I really didn't want to use my own name. The Finnish language is difficult, and a lot of the names themselves are really, really difficult for non-Finnish people to pronounce. And you can see that in a lot of situations because you have a lot of Finnish players in the NHL, You have Finnish drivers in the Formula One. And just hearing those names said out loud, it just seems like it is the most difficult thing for any foreign broadcaster or like what are they? Narrators? No. Announcers? I think it's announcers. Let me know what the right answer is. But trying to hear them make their best effort at pronouncing Finnish names just proved to me that if I were to use my own name, it is definitely not easily searchable, nor is it exactly easy to remember for someone who is not Finnish. Now, in the same space, there are a lot of people that use their own name. Even a lot of people who are not Americans, Canadians, or British. So you have someone like Peter Lindgren, which is from Sweden. But that name is very easily pronounceable for, anyone. Even Americans, even Canadians. But then there is one exception to this hesitation, which is pretty much what has now inspired me to just say, screw it, I'm going to be using my own name. And that is, as Americans and Canadians love to pronounce it, Matti Haapoja, or Matti Haapoja. He is in fact Finnish, Peter McKinnon's friend, and the filmmaking, photography, content creator based in Toronto, I believe. But that name, it is slightly easier maybe than my name. It just, you can see how names just, the pronunciation just takes a life of its own. And now he's known as Matti Haapoja, even though that's not even close how he would pronounce his name. And I don't really mind that. What I worry about is my name going to be even remotely possible for someone who's not Finnish to remember, not to mention type in a search box if they're trying to look for my videos. I actually jumped a couple of points here. I was supposed to talk about something else before that, but I'm gonna just hop back into that one now. So why I want to make a name change and why do I want to use my own name? Because I have a photography business on the side as well. And the name of my business is actually my own name. I haven't given it a name of its own yet. So I had planned on making the name of the company LowFigh Visuals, which is why my website is named LowFigh Visuals. But there is a big negative side to me going with an English name for my Finnish company. Since it's the same problem, but just in the other direction. If I'm trying to get customers and people to shoot and just business opportunities in Finland, having an English name like LowFigh Visuals, with the lo-fi being in a very confusing way, that's just going to be an uphill battle as well. So I feel like I'm done trying to hide behind a brand that I create, and I'm fine with just me being myself with my own name, which is, if you didn't know, I do have it written down in some places, but my name is Ville Rasku, or what's going to be the pronunciation that is going to be the most common? Like Ville Rasku? I don't know. I do have a couple of people from other countries in my family who have pretty much. I've noticed that Ville is the way that you, like filet, is how you pronounce my first name. Never really heard them say the last name. It's going to be interesting. In all honesty, as a Finnish person, I haven't really liked my name. Pretty much preferred my second name, but I've never used it, which is Petteri, or Peter. Very close to Peter. But I think it's time to just own up to the name. Use the name for me, for the channel, for the company, and just go with that. because then it's cohesive everywhere. Then it's consistent everywhere. If you try to look for anything that I do, you just use my name and you'll find it. Sure, I might make some other channels, like I do still want to make that gaming channel at some point, and I do still want to stream at some point. What name I'm going to be using for those, I don't know yet. But at least my business, my photography, and my content creation YouTube channel is going to be under my real name, Ville Rasku. Now, one of the things that I did worry about at the beginning was the analytics. If I change my name now, then those few people who have grown to know me by my handle so far, LowFigh, will now not be able to find me. And I'll be a completely new channel in their subscription box and in their feed. That was something that I worried about at the beginning. But now, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Sure, I might take a hit in something like the analytics, which is something that channels of almost any size need to be aware of. Not take too much pressure out of, but need to be aware of. But I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. And if it is, then it is. I just really love making content, and I want it to be a part of my company. So I really want to just make a community around my real self, not a fake brand or a gamer tag. That's pretty much the explanation on why this is happening and what is happening. So the LowFigh name is going to be removed pretty much from my YouTube channel. There's still some logistics things that I'm going to have to do, so it's not going to be today. It's not going to be when you're watching this video. How this is actually going to go is that next week, in next week's video, hopefully, I will be debuting my new intro for the channel, and that will be branded to the new name. The next week after that is when I'm actually going to go ahead and make the name change in YouTube, on YouTube. In Google, that's when the name is going to change on the channel. I am really interested to see how it's going to affect like the performance of videos and whatnot, but I'm pretty optimistic. And I just wanted to clarify that I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with using like a brand name. I love channels like Gerald and Nunn or Dave 2D or DSLR Video Shooter. I watch a lot of those guys. I watch a lot of channels that have like a brand name or like a sort of like a persona name, I guess. So LowFigh is going to be going away in a couple of weeks, and it is going to be replaced by my real name. So, hello, one and all. Great to meet you. My name is Ville Rasku, and I hope to see you in the next video as well. And the video after that, and the video after that, and all the videos that I've already published. If this brought any thoughts, let me know in the comments, and I don't really know what else to say. So I think I'm just going to end it there. Does that sound good? Does that sound okay? Alright. I'm just going to go. This was bad coffee, by the way. See ya.